Welcome to Parif TV. Once again, we're very, very excited to have an interview with two creative artists. There are Atsho Baghsarian, Arshu Simonian Baghsarian, and Avedis Baghsarian. Arshu has been described as one of the world's most important shoe designer of the mid to late 20th century. She has worked with Christian Dior, Stuart Weitzman, and many other prestigious fashion designers, and she has shared her creative art with the world. She has designed thousands and thousands of shoes. All of her design, sketches, and creative art have been donated to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. Avedis has also been very, very creative. His love has been passion was photography, architecture, design, and the likes. Arshu first, how are you doing with the pandemic? We are in a very weird situation. You've seen many things in life, but this has been a very unique experience for all of us. How are you doing?
Well, okay, I guess, considering that I have been in quarantine for 2 months, and the hobbies are cooking, cleaning, and being a barber to my husband, and just, home things. And at the same time, I write a little naive poetry, showing my feelings for the coronavirus, which, I share with my friends and so on. And it's a sad time. It's a sad time because, here in New York, we're so used to being out doing so many things, and to be confined to the home is a little difficult. But this too shall pass, I hope.
Avedis Tudich, how are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing very well, even though, like Arshu described, being confined for two of us, that we are always exploring New York, from museums to galleries to shopping, everything. We love New York. We feel we are New Yorkers, and we enjoy every inch of New York. We all are always out, but this confinement, we discovered that we can do a lot of other things besides going out. And I find out things about my wife I never knew. She became a fierce backgammon player because we spend about
an hour
playing cards, an hour playing maybe a half hour, one set of backgammon. And then if we have time, we start playing chess. But she became such a fierce backgammon player, she surprised me. Among her other qualities, she is a very, how should I put it? She believes in winning, and she does win when she puts her mind to it. And that's what I find out about her.
I have this book that is dedicated to Arshu's work, and it says Atsho Baghsarian, A Life in Shoes. And I also have Avedis, your book, which is Geometrics, which is the latest interest you've had in giving us some beautiful designs. Arshu, let me go into this book. What stage of life were you most productive, and what great people have you worked with?
Well, I have worked with a lot of great people. My favorite period has been at the beginning, the 60s, when I started with Christian Dior, which then combined with I. Miller, and they were both part of Genesco. And there I had total freedom. I was just out of college, young and creative, and I had total freedom to do whatever I wanted, and I did the most experimental part of my work. However, I have had the pleasure of working, designing shoes and making shoes on 3 different continents: the American continent, and of course 5 different countries in Europe, and 4 different countries in the Far East. So I traveled a lot to all these countries and worked with a lot of different people, and learned a few more languages in the meantime, like Spanish and Italian. But the early days were the most creative. Later on, as you get older, you become more commercial. You're interested in what sells rather than what's so different or, unusual.
In this book, I am flipping the pages. There are pictures of your designs, but there are also some information about your childhood, about your parents.
Yes.
Who influenced you? Where did this talent, where does this energy, where does this creativity come from?
Well, both, my mother and my father. My mother was like a fashion designer. She was teaching to a lot of young students, giving them diplomas in fashion. And so was my father was a tailor. They were both very creative and, avant-garde and very open-minded. And I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to go into fine arts. And then a friend's wife, and they were husband and wife in the advertising business, she said, what would you do after you graduate? You sit and wait for someone to buy your paintings? Why don't you go into commercial art, where you study and you would know art, but at the same time you'd make money? So that's when I decided to go into fashion design, and I went to Pratt for 4 years. And it was very good advice, because I loved fashion, even though I started as a dress fashion designer. But I was so influenced by my teacher in shoe design, which was an elective course I took. And then I went into shoe design, and I've never regretted it, because I love that industry. It's not as competitive and wild as the fashion design. Accessories are a little, and you also design shoes to go with the clothes, and you work about 6 months ahead of time. So that was a very interesting business for me.
Shoes are designed for walking, not for displaying at fashion shows.
Right, which is true.
This is your core.
Because that's why, they can be pretty, but at the same time, they have to be very functional. It's design plus function, because if the shoe does not fit, you cannot walk. So it doesn't serve a purpose,
Avidis, your life began in Jerusalem in 1933. You have come to America in the 1950s, and you have gone to the School of Visual Arts, Parsons School of Design, and there is this passion in you of creativity. Give us a few ideas of what was like for you. What are the highlights as it relates to what we are going through today with the pandemic? You were telling me the other day about experiences in Jerusalem, which I found very interesting. Tell us what was your story.
Well, restriction of freedom was what I grew up with. A restriction of, how should I say, going out, because we grew up during the World War II one time. We had blackouts and all that thing. That was not bad. But when the 1948, the Palestinian-Israeli war began, we had freedom of walking out, and in the middle of it, bombs start falling. We had to run to shelters. We had to run to our homes, and we had to kill a lot of times playing cards and doing other things. So that's the reason I said this is not bad comparing to my childhood when I was in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, we had not only a shortage of food, a shortage of other things, but we had also shortage of going out, because we do not know. I remember very well a few things that my mother used to say: get used to the idea of having shortage of food, get used to the idea of you cannot go out and play with your friends at the ballpark. And so get used to it until things change. And she assured me things will change. And that's the line I kept giving to Arsha, to all my nieces and nephews. Things will change. Things will come to an end. No bad things will last forever. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always sunshine after a cloudy, rainy, stormy day.
Arsha, what is your word of advice to young generation, young people who are moving into the world and are having their own dreams. What is your advice?
Yes, me too. You know, I've had lots of assistants from Pratt and other schools, you know, when I was working. And just like always, we both feel the same way that, you know, and the students from some of the universities used to come at Stuart Watson offices and for me to lecture. And I always say, you have to be very passionate about what you're doing. Passion is the magical word, because if you start working and you're not passionate about what you're doing, you have to quit and go and find what you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. Passion gives you creativity.
You know, you also had and have a passion for writing poetry. Tell me about that.
Yes.
I want her to read.
You know, when I'm sad, it seems like it comes out, you know, it flows out of me, the poetry, especially when I'm sad. But as I said, at 9/11, I started, and then, you know, coronavirus brought out some of the things that I feel when I am quarantined at home. And I really loved it, and I would do it all over again. No regrets, as they say, no regrets.
Would I go back, change my life? No, I enjoy photography, I enjoy designing. I would not change it. The most important thing, I met my wife because her parents were photographer. Their hobby was photography. Their hobby was
I was expecting you to say that. Beautiful.
Their hobby was photography. When we started going out and I started talking to their parents, they start asking me a lot of questions about photography. I guess I seemed interesting to them because their hobby was photography.
Դխուր գսկամ, որ գիտես, այսան փանդարգվածի պես, դխուր գսկամ, բայց նույն ժամանակ ես կքրեմ մոդանավորներ, ավետիս կոմպյուտերի վրա գաշխարի, այսինքն շատ սպաղված ենք և ժամանակը շատ շուտ կանցնի, ժամանակ չունի կրետ է, իրիգուն գլա, և մենք թեր չենք գրած մեր սիրած բաները, բայց երկուքսա սպաղված ենք, անանք, որ վարտան դուխուր չենք, այսինքն, բայց կուզեինք ազատ լալ և երթալ, դեսնալ պարեկամներ և այլն, ադիգա է, որ դուխուր գբահե մեզի, բայց շատ ուրախ ենք, որ աս վիդեո սիստեմը գա, և պարեկամներու, ասկականներուս հետը Գիպրոս, Սիդնի, Օստրելիա, Pan Rome, կորսի պարեկամներու հետ, Սպանիա և այլն, ասանք կտեսնվենք, կխոսենք և ադիգա շատ կող կբայ մեզի։
Ավետիս, դու ինչպես կսկաս։
Հբարդ, աշխվային սադի բես դխուր, չէի ուզեր աս վերջին դարիներս պանդարգյալի բես կլան, բայց ջարը չիգա և մամայի սադի բես. This should end also. Asa bili verçanan. And that's true. It will end. And yev gnaim abakan inzi avili bayzar yereva kante dukhur.
Bravo.
Usam menk pamagsorvink as taseren. Kides yerpem God has a mysterious way of teaching us a lesson, because I really truly that we have not seen war or poverty for a long, long time. We, the fortunate people, like Atsho, me, and others like us. And somebody said, listen, guys, you better take care of this earth because it's a gift to you. You better take care of your gift. It's not going to last like this forever.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Atsho, are we going to see better days soon?
I hope so. I'm just going to read the last stanza from one of my poems.
Sure. That would be a beautiful way to wrap up.
World Interrupted. It's called World Interrupted. I said, despair is in our new vocabulary. Time drags on for eternity. This too shall pass eventually. We must look ahead for ecstasy.